as a dietitian, in my list of the most frequently asked questions, the one that tops is basically how to improve appetite in children, and of course, what kind of multivitamins do I give my baby to improve their appetite? What can I add to his food? What can I add to her meals so that they can have better eating habits? My name is Lilian Mumina. I am a registered clinical nutritionist, and in today's video, we're going to talk about how to improve your child's appetite in the most natural and most effective way. You want to stick around because I will throw in tips here and there on food preparation methods that you can use to increase nutrient density of your baby's food. So without further ado, let's get into it. The first thing that I would like to address is multivitamins do not increase appetite. I'm sure you did not expect that. A multivitamin basically supply your baby's body with vitamins and minerals that are supposed to help in boosting and promoting their metabolism, how their body is going to function. This is supposed to improve the health outcomes, and when a baby is healthy, they're supposed to eat better. That is why people confuse multivitamins with appetizers. So with that said, is taking multivitamin a waste of time? No, because they are going to boost your baby's nutrient demands. You see, the normal growth curve of a human being dictates that the most growth and development happens between infancy through childhood and adolescence. This is the time that your baby's nutrient demands go high. With that said, and the changing trends in how we produce food, how we prepare our meals, and the type of foods that we have for our kids, we need to supplement here and there if we can. So multivitamins is not a waste of time. So now that we've said that multivitamin is not appetizers, how can you improve your baby's appetite? The first thing that you need to understand before you can start tackling appetite is understand that loss of appetite is a sign that something is wrong with your baby. It can be a sign of a deficiency, micronutrient, malnutrition. It can also be a sign of infection, or it can also be a sign of sadness or mental disturbances. When your baby is growing, you need to understand that their protein needs are going to be high. So in all their meals, you need to give them a source of protein, whether plant or animal. Their nuts, you can give them when you're snacking them. Their avocados, their meats, you can give them beans, legumes. You can fermented mala, cheese, all sorts of protein. Again, your baby's carbohydrate needs should also be maintained and be supplied with adequately. Unless your baby has some mental disorders like maybe autism, Down syndrome, or they are epileptic, you don't need to put them on a ketogenic diet because their body still needs, their brain cells still need the glucose. They're still in their crucial developmental stages. So after breastfeeding, when you're combining meals for your baby, it is important that to ensure that whatever you're going to give your baby has some protein in it, has fats in it, has some carbohydrate in it, and has some micronutrients, that is basically the vegetables and the fruits. Another thing, it is important to note that with growing stages, you might also be misdiagnosing your baby for nothing. Of course, after birth, the growth rate is as fast as it can be, but as they grow older, the growth rate stagnates a bit until they get to teenagehood and such. So the stagnation is basically because their physical activity level is expected to go high. But now you see, in the modern world, our babies don't play. You don't want your baby to get dirty, so your baby is not going to play, so they are going to be obese. That is malnutrition. That is overnutrition. They are going to be obese because you're feeding them and they are not playing as they are supposed to and as they are expected to, because that is the normal way of life. So one thing, let your babies play. It is very important. Let your babies go outside, get some sun. It is very, very important. Vitamin D is very, very crucial. Give your babies vitamin D rich foods. Give your baby fish if they are not tolerating fish, because again, babies can be picky. It's very much allowed. If they're not tolerating fish, you can give them supplements, you can give them fish oils, you can give them alternates of the omega-3 sources and other foods that are going to supply them with the same nutrients. It is very, very important. Another thing, also ensure that you check on your baby. Check on them if they have fever. Check on them if they are struggling with any other thing. Be a friend to your child before you start punishing them. Talk to them. Babies can be very manipulative, yes, I know, but ensure that you're communicating to them as best as you can. Again, with the way the world is, there's a lot of evil people out there. There's a lot of things that can go wrong for your baby. So we also protect our babies in all aspects before we start complaining that our babies are not eating. And another thing is deworm every 3 months. After 2 years, the baby is supposed to be dewormed every 3 months. Below 2 years, after 1 year, the baby is supposed to be dewormed after 6 months. Because you see, when they were below 1 year, the foods that you were giving them were selective, they were more cleaner and such. But again, once they start playing, they're going to touch things, they're going to eat more dirt, and this will predispose them to having worms and such. So ensure that your baby is well dewormed, well vaccinated at all stages. When the government is doing blanket supplementations or vaccinations, please do not refuse with the baby. Let them, because it is also protective for them from infections that affect their nutrient demands. You need to understand that malnutrition is the root cause of more than a third of the world's total deaths in children, and provide variety of foods. Don't give your baby one type of meal every day. They'll get bored and they'll stop enjoying meal times. Be creative when it comes to meal preparation, and also ferment foods, ferment porridges, ferment rice. You know, the easiest way to ferment anything is add a fermented food on it. Let's say you've cooked porridge, you do not have time to ferment, you can always add, like, once it's cooked, not on the sufuria or on the jiko when it's cooking, no. Once your porridge is cooked for the baby, you can add natural yogurt without sugars. And again, stop giving your babies sugar. Sugar affects metabolism. Sugar predisposes your babies to diseases like diabetes, cancers, mental issues. All these problems have been linked to overconsumption of sugars and processed and refined carbohydrates in babies. You need to stop that. Feed your babies healthy foods. Someone will come to me and ask, but how can they take the natural yogurt? But how can they take tea without sugar? They don't know the taste. You're the ones who are teaching them. You're the one creating and culturing the taste. They will get used to it and they will enjoy your meals, provided that you also add taste, also add flavors, the natural flavors. Again, do not overload your baby's growing cells, dividing cells with a lot of toxic additives. Do natural additives like ginger, garlic, turmeric, thyme, parsley. They're going to add flavor and taste to the food, and the babies will appreciate it. Give them interesting food. Make sure that meal times are interesting, and also always have a fruit. This is basically something that I expect that all of us know. Feed your baby fruits. Feed your baby citrus fruits for absorption of nutrients, so that the babies can get the adequate amount of nutrients that they have gotten from the foods utilized in their body. Feed the baby with vegetables to get fiber, because it is good for their cultures, it is good for their digestion, to avoid constipation. Prioritize whole grain, prioritize intake of healthy foods, and make sure that you're subscribed, and also check out this video where I talk about how to stop infections in babies and children, and let's meet there.